Okay, so I've kind of been wanting to do I've been wanting to do a flip video for a while. I've seen people doing it online, and you know, plenty of shit here. I don't know if anybody noticed, but there was an S10 that was sitting right there. I did haul that off yesterday. I'm actually using it to trade in my Jeep build. So anyhow, back to the flip. So I was wanting to do it, and then, you know, in my normal fashion, I forgot to video the beginning. So I do have some photos of the first cars. So I will post those up. So anyhow, first I bought I think it was oh, my camper door's open. It was a 2002, I believe, Chevy Malibu. I bought it off some people that I knew. Had some problems. Anyhow, they sold it to me for 150 bucks. So I got it. Didn't really do anything to it. Changed the oil in it, of course. Checked all the fluids. The rear windows didn't work. I had a buddy of mine that was going to be derbying one, and so I pulled a bunch of parts off of it, threw it on there. So that was free. So besides the oil change and some fluids, really didn't have much in the car. So I ended up selling that car for $1,000. So that would be, you know, the start of this whole flip series, I guess you'd want to say. So I sold that car for $1,000. So then I was flipping through Craigslist, and I found a 2006 Pontiac Grand Prix GT supercharged. These are the pictures here after it was done and detailed. Said it had a bad head gasket. Well, if anybody knows anything about 3.8 liters, they just don't blow head gaskets. So anyhow, I bought the car, drove it home. I got it for 650 bucks. So brought it home. Ended up, the water pump was completely wasted. It was full of stop leak. So I changed the water pump, put new belts on it, oil change. I think I bought a different set of rims and tires and threw on it. Had it detailed, and I ended up selling it for $3,000. So I spent $150 on the Malibu, sold it for $1,000. Had roughly $1,000 in the Grand Prix, and then I sold it for $3,000. So that's where we were. So just so happened, I mean, I have a Camaro over there. I'm not a Ford guy, I'm not a Mustang guy, but I had a friend of mine message me. He's like, hey, would you be interested in a couple convertible Mustangs? And I was like, you know, I really hate Mustangs, but I'll buy anything if they're cheap enough. So he was getting this info from a lady, and she really didn't know a ton about the cars. And I was talking to him, so he had to ask her. You know, I did know that they were V6 automatic cars, both of them, both convertibles, and I had the picture of them. So that was all the info I had. And rather than, you know, tell him to ask her a bunch of questions and her get back to him, then him message me, I was like, look, you know, if if they both run, drive, stop, turn, you know, do everything they're supposed to do to be able to be driven, I'll give her $3 grand for both of them. So a little bit later, he messages me back and she said okay. And she did say that the one had a bad battery in it. So I did know that. So I ended up, I went there, that was on, I think, a Wednesday. I went over there Friday morning and I looked the cars over, drove them. There was a few things that I didn't know about and didn't really like. This back window here was stuck down. These cars are actually both wrapped. This one is actually maroon, this car, which you can kind of see there, it's wrapped, and this car is actually black. So anyhow, you know, I test drove both the cars, and again, that was probably something I should have videoed, but I didn't think about it at the time. So you know, I looked them over. They both ran, drove, stopped, turned, did everything they need to do. Granted, they were a little bit rougher than what I'd anticipated, but you know, I told her, I was like, well, you know, they did everything that I asked, and I said I'd give you $3 grand, so I gave her $3 grand. So me, my girlfriend, and my brother had drove up there. So I drove the blue one home. He drove the black one home. And I bought these cars an hour away, and the lady was kind of concerned. They'd actually fixed them both up for their daughters a few years previously. I had daughters in high school, and they had never got really driven much. I mean, they put a ton of money in these things. I mean, they've got new brakes, calipers, rotors, drums, I'm sure everything inside, just from what I can see. Rims, tires, both got new tops, you know, full tune-up. They rebuilt the engine on this. They both got new trunk carpet. You know, they wrapped them. They put a lot of money into these things. But she was concerned. She's like, you know, they've never really been on the highway. And I just told her, I was like, well, we're gonna find out today. So we drove them both home. I've actually had them for, I don't know, probably 6 weeks at this point. I did a little bit of work to them, of course, changed the oil in both of them, checked all the fluids. I had to do some wiring to make the gauges work, which I found most of that wiring in a box of parts she gave me. I had to put a few parts on that they had, just put them on the car. This car was missing the front side marker lights. I had to put those on. But you know, nothing major. The most major thing I did was I put a rear window motor in this car, and I put a radio in it. And I just bought a cheap Bluetooth radio. So nothing fancy. So I mean, in the build aspect, I'm sorry, not the build aspect. In the flip aspect, I suppose this is kind of cheating because I only got $3,000 from the Grand Prix. And I did spend a little bit of money to fix these up. But I mean, parts wise, you know, I work at the parts store, so you know, I get my discount. I think I had 30 bucks in oil changes for both. Let's just say we'll round it to 150. I kept these wheels and tires that came on the car, so I didn't really cheat because they should be worth the $150 that I spent. With the radio, the rear window motor, and oil changes. And you know, I had to put a little bit of fluid in the top for this one, but you know, I really didn't put much money into them. You know, I cleaned them up, so more labor than anything. So I'm not really cheating too much. This one here has actually got a pretty nice interior in it. It's in pretty good shape. I mean, neither of them are in bad shape, but this one's actually pretty nice. So anyhow, the reason I'm doing this video today is I am potentially trading this one here for a 2005 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Actually, I've got this one listed cheaper because, I mean, everybody likes this one. They think it looks cool because of the color and it's got the ground effects on it. But in all reality, this is a much better car. Just a lot of little things. The windows don't like to go up and down very well in that one. The top works better in the black one. The motor's been rebuilt. The gas gauge doesn't work on the blue one. It's got some rust coming through on the hood. It's just a lot of little things. I mean, it runs and drives just fine. Just this one's just a little bit nicer. So hopefully here after a bit, I'm gonna meet up with the guy and see about trading this one for that Jeep Cherokee. So that'll be the next vehicle in the $150 flip. So I guess I didn't say this earlier, but so my goal in this $150 flip is to get a new truck. Now, when I say new truck, I don't necessarily mean brand new truck, but you know, something a little newer. I got the hood up on it right now because I killed the battery with it being hooked up to my camper. But so this, I talked about it a little bit in a previous video. I'll do an actual video on it because I've got a lot of work into it. But this is my current truck. Not that there's anything super wrong with it. It's just old. It's an 04. It's only got like 126,000 on it. So, you know, engine wise, it's going to be fine for a while yet. But, you know, it is still old, you know, and it's just rust. It's, you know, it's Ohio. So it's just a never-ending battle. You can't win. You know, I've replaced the front end on this truck, and to be honest with you, the rear doors are, or not even the rear doors, the doors in general are starting to rust already, and they've only been on the truck for maybe a year and a half. But yeah, this bed's just bad. But anyhow, I'll get into that more. So, you know, I mean, this truck's gonna be fine for a while. And you know, I'm not anticipating that in the next, you know, couple months I'm gonna have, you know, 40 grand or 30 grand or 20 grand even to go buy another truck with from this flip. But you know, I figure in a couple years, if I keep plugging away at it and keep the money set aside that I initially invested that $150 in, then I can actually maybe purchase something by the time I need it. So anyhow, this is a segment, hopefully first segment, you know, kind of in my third exchange, I guess you'd say, on this flip. But I hope to have more for you, and yeah, I'll try to do a better job keeping you guys updated. But have a good day.